When did you first pick up a basketball?
St. Joseph Grade School, 1944. I went in the gym and there was a basketball there. I was on my way home, nobody was around. I just went to the gym and I said, I want to make this shot. I banked it off from the right side and it went in. And first joy of my life for basketball. I mean, really, my mother and father were good athletes. My dad had a scholarship to the University of Nebraska for baseball, and my mom played women's basketball and was pretty good in track. And so I'm genetically blessed and have always felt real good about that.
Did you, from that moment on, what did you love about basketball?
Really. I did. That was about a year later. We moved. We moved to White Center, which is where I was raised, and a tough place to be raised, very competitive. But the gym that they had in White Center was outstanding. It was built by the WPA during the Depression times, which our family suffered through. And anyway, that gym did so much for so many kids, and it really did for me, both in baseball and basketball. The directors were good coaching, good coaches, good people, just a phenomenal time to grow up, and I lived every minute of it. It was a wonderful place, and it's still tough, but there are a lot of poor people that are working their way up, and that's what we did. And so it was great for competitive spirits, especially.
You're good at baseball and basketball, but what did you love about basketball? Or what do you still love about this game?
Well, I don't know. I loved them both. Probably baseball was my best sport, but basketball, I just had the ability to play it, but I didn't have coaching until I went to Seattle Prep, and I was coached by Frank Ahern. Everybody that knows anything about basketball and the history of Seattle knows Frank Ahern. He was a tremendous coach, way, way ahead of the time. And anyway, it was really something to play for him and be coached by him and to follow his life. I'm following his life in being able to volunteer here, which is what he did into his 80s. I spoke at his funeral, and I just gave him the loudest accolades that I possibly could. I mean, just a phenomenal teacher. And like on my two-hand set shot, I was shooting the ball against the wall always, and my right arm was crossing a little bit. And he said, no, that's it. You're going to have to shoot two-handed. Now you get both of those arms in action, and it was what I did. Whatever it was, the gospel was there, and the gospel was there for me until I was in my 80s. And what a passionate love I have for that man.
How did you guys do at Seattle Prep?
Well, he coached. He wasn't the basketball coach to begin with, but he coached me in my sophomore year on junior varsity, and then in my senior year, he became the head coach. And but all through that time, and even when I was in college, if my shot was off, I went back to him. And he was just, he'd fix it like that. And the coach that we had at Seattle U, Al Brightman, he was in favor of guys shooting from a distance. There was no three-point line, but he wanted us to shoot from a distance because then we created distance. And we had better room to drive and search it out when we did make the drive, because basketball's been one-on-one forever, and he was great at teaching one-on-one, and I just fabulously lucky to have him. And Al Brightman also. I've been blessed with very good coaches. Coached who really helped me with my confidence and knowledge of the game and the sports, relating to people. That's the whole desire there.
What made the 1958 team so good?
Mainly the point guard. I wasn't a point guard, but I was always pointing at Elgin Baylor to point. It was, and it's funny to watch some back films of just get him the ball, get him the ball. A coach from Georgia Tech. We were playing Georgia Tech. It was in Oklahoma City, and a big tournament that they had. They were one of the first big Christmas tournaments going, and I happened to be in the hotel lobby and sitting next to him, and he talked to me about Elgin, and I said, well, what would you do if you had Elgin? He said, the ball would never cross the line, but what he'd get it. And so that was open to me to be able to play, because I had a lot of tough players to beat out. And anyway, get him the ball, get him the ball, get him the ball. And he is so phenomenal, and it's sad to say to people nowadays, did you know Elgin Baylor? And they'd say, who? Elgin Baylor? Who's he? But he is absolutely the greatest of all time. He was further ahead of the game than anybody has ever been ahead of the game. And truly one of the great basketball players of all time. We were so lucky to have him, and I was able to be with him for 2 years. A great guy, great competitor, love of the sport, just absolutely the tremendous landing there. Right place, right time, has been a kind of a story of my life, really. Being in Poulsbo now has just been wonderful. I've got 50 years in here, and I've loved every year.
Scott got goosebumps when we mentioned the state championship, and you were there.
Yeah.
But the Final Four, when I throw that out at you, 1958, and getting to that Final Four and getting into the championship game, you guys beat Kansas State.
Well,
what do you feel like when I mention that?
The bumps are coming up right here, right now. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was so phenomenal both years that he was there, and to be starting a guard both years. I just, the guys that we played, how great Seattle U was, how great they became. And that year was just a part of it. My high school idol when I was in high school was Johnny O'Brien, who led Seattle University into the situation of them being the all-time great university at one time, going from a person who was a phenomenal small man post, averaging close to 30, leaving Seattle University and immediately starting for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just, they were in the tournament and went in. Seattle U in those days, they were in the tournament or invited to the tournament in 1953, 54, 55, 56, 57. We elected to go to the NIT, and in 58 to the finals. In the 60s, they have more guys in the pros than any other school in America, and just a phenomenal. But that run that we made to the NCAA, we played San Francisco. They were ranked #2 in the nation. We beat them in a last-second shot by Baylor. California ranked 5th in the nation. We beat them in overtime on a long shot by sweet Charlie Brown. And then we went to play in the Final Four against Kansas State, the #1 team in the nation, coached by Tex Winter, and beat them by 20 when they were favored by 13. And then we played Kentucky for the national championship, and we should have won that game, but lost it. And it was a horrible loss. And how did I feel afterwards? I was on my knee crying. That's exactly it. And my coach said, Jimmy, we're 2nd in the nation. I just looked up and I said, we should be 1st. And that's how I felt about it all the time, and all of us did. It was an amazing team. Five of the guys that were there were either offered pro contracts or did make it into the NBA, and it was just a phenomenal group of players, and just so happy to have been there. It was so lucky for me. He actually recruited me to play baseball. Al Brightman did, but Al Brightman was one of the all-time greats of Seattle.
You need to write a book, because I'm enjoying this book
Well,
as you're telling me it face to face here. That year, it's disappointed you. You guys lose,
Yeah.
but you're on the top of the world. You're a phenomenal athlete. You're playing basketball, baseball, and then you just mention it. Offered pro contracts. Take me through that and a decision that you have to make in your life.
Well, I got a letter from the Minneapolis Lakers that I could come for a tryout. And were I to make the team, I would make $3,000. I was already signed, however, at Seattle Prep to coach for $4,000 and teach 5 classes and coach 3 sports. And they paid me over 9 months because that's what we could afford. I had 3 children at that time. And anyway, I took the big money and went for the $4,000 over the $3,000. And anyway, how that life could have been could not surpass the life that I've had in coaching. To take Frank Ahern's advice and spread it around, and be with high school kids to help them out, and a college stint at the University of Puget Sound, which was a very, very big deal at that time. And, but I couldn't be happier with my life.
I was going to say, and you answered the question, but you go to Seattle Prep and your friend Elgin Baylor goes on and becomes an 11-time NBA All-Star. Did you ever during that time like, oh man, I could be in the NBA with him? Or
Well, about 5 years later, into it, a friend of mine called me up and said, hey Jim, this is, I don't know who the AD was at that time. He said, would you like to come and play ball now? And I said, oh my God, could I? And he said, oh, and I was all pepped up over it. And then he had to, without hurting my feelings, he knew how hard I was going after it. But I said, anyway, he explained that he was just pulling a joke on me. And I said, oh my God, that was a horrible joke.
So 1959, you started Seattle Prep?
59, I started teaching. The students I first taught now are 80 years old.
How long did you coach and teach there?
9 years.
9 years. And then went to UPS?
Then I went to UPS for 4 years, and we had a great bunch there, great bunch. And we were Division II, and we beat 11 Division I teams, you know, and it was a great ride, and it was just tremendous amount of good basketball, good players. We got a lot of players that were troublesome, and we brought them in, and we made good people out of them, and we won. And we would have won the national championship. We got beaten in the semifinals by Old Dominion, and but our leading scorer, best player, was Ed Houston, and he was hurt and not be able to play with us at that time. That was '71, and it was a great ride there. Then all my kids were moving into high school, and I went after a high school job so I could go through high school with them. Fortunately, the Lord put me in Poulsbo, and it's just been a tremendous place to be.
White Center, Seattle, Seattle U, Seattle Prep, Tacoma UPS, Poulsbo. And you've been here ever since.
Yeah.
What has this place meant to you?
Well, it's like I died and went to heaven. I mean, really, Poulsbo has just been, when I came in, it was a kind of a bit of a mess, but 3 or 4 coaches came in that same year, and I think we all had a play in changing the attitude that was around the school, and it just, after about 3 or 4 years, we caught fire, and we had real good teams going, and it just has kind of maintained itself. It's picked it up around here now again. It was down for a little bit, but the coaching here has been outstanding through all of the sports, and I mean, just the town of Poulsbo itself, the nature of it, the old-time people that had been here. It's, you know, we're moving. A lot of people are moving in now. They're discovering it, and it's just a great little town. That's all, and it's great to be in a small town, you know. And right now, I know kids that I'm helping out their grandchildren, and of guys that played for me, and it's just such a loving place. Always liked it here, and it's been a great gym.
Well, there's joy in the gym, and Coach Orness talked about he learned and brought joy here. What has he meant, you know, since Scott has been here? What's he meant to this school and this program?
Scott has just made this program phenomenal, and what has happened since he's been here, it isn't just the fact that we've won, it's the fact of how he brings the kids together and works their butt off, and they love him. I mean, it's just, they work so hard. The most entertaining games for me, and I love watching it and seeing plays, but the plays that I see in practice, the intensity of the second team, the guys that are playing, and the talks that Scott gives them to bring all of this out, and it's been heavenly to be a part of it, to have him allow me to be around, really, and it's just the joy of my life. So I just have to say that it's the joy of the gym, and I like to spell it J-I-M.
You played with arguably one of the best of all time, Elgin Baylor.
Absolutely.
Some would say, when it comes to guards, you're right up there in this state, but you got a youngster over there by the name of Cade.
Oh, Cade sees the floor better than Elgin. I mean, he has eyes in the back of his head, and that is his best game. But he can shoot the lights out. He defends. He's in their face all the time. He's got his team behind him. He spreads the joy. He spreads the joy. It's just an all-time great for North Kitsap. There's no doubt about that, and we got time, still a whole year to go next year for us to improve. We really have a young team.
You got a shot back too, huh?
Pardon?
You got a shot back. You worked on the shot a little, huh?
No, I worked on a shot before, but I got his knees back.
His knees are back.
They were bent a little bit too far. Frank Ahern told me that one. I can go back to him all the time.
Kate says you still got moves out here. 1958, you told me the story. You were crying because you guys took second in the national tournament. But Kate says you just won some tournament. What the heck is that about? You just won something? Something 70-year-old, you won a tournament, you're still playing, you won something?
Oh, I played senior sports starting in 1968. I retired in 57, and I messed around for a while, and I was way overweight. And anyway, I started out in slow pitch softball, going to tournaments every place, and then slow pitch was really tough on me. I loved it, so I better get in shape. So I started playing basketball in the gym here. Then one of my good friends from Bremerton says, "Hey, Jim, how about going to the national tournament in Florida?" I said, "Well, sure." And we went and we won it. And another team picked me up for the Pan American Games, and we won that. And then another team picked me up for the USA team, and we went to Brazil and won the 75 and over national or international tournament in Brazil. And I had a great tournament, and it's just been a joy. Then I got big into track, and track really wore me out. Anyway, I had to give the game up. My knees gave out on me, but I got my knees back. Great doctors.
Two more questions, because I know practice is getting close here, and I don't want you late for practice, like 4 minutes away here. Coaching. I asked Scott, what is your philosophy to being a good coach?
Well, I think one of the things that helped me the most as far as coaching, besides Frank Ahern and the technique of it, was that while I was at the University of Puget Sound, I got a degree in counseling and guidance. There was nothing, I wasn't going to use it at all, but I think it really helped me in the reading and the psychology of kids, and I was a counselor here for the last 15 years that I was teaching here, at that time being a counselor. But I think that just helping kids is the main thing. John Wooden said, and I was a great believer of his, and we had a big time ball game with John Wooden. But John Wooden said, "You're not coaching basketball, you're coaching people." And to be able to bring something out of them in their teenage years, and to see them grow, and then later on come back and just say, "Wow, gosh," and they give me a thanks, and what a pleasure it is, and that's been the whole thing, really, the joy, pleasure of the gym, and it just great to be here. I hate to be late.
And we don't want to be late, so this is my last question for now. The theme has been with you, joy in the gym, but you've, listening to this, have found joy in life.
Yeah.
So, and you got a lot of life to live. You got some state tournaments you still got to go, you
Oh,
guys got to
yeah.
coach at. But what's kind of been, if you look back, a secret to your success, to your joy in the gym? Because it's easier said than done, but how have you found that?
I don't know. I think it goes back personally to my mom and my dad, of how they had to struggle coming through the Depression, to know what the Depression is all about. I was born in 35, and we moved from South Dakota because we had to. There was nothing there, dust storms, we were broke. To go back and remember all of the things that they went through, building a business in Seattle, and I guess I don't know if I'm off point or where, but I just, right place, right time. I'm not answering your question clear enough.
You're doing fine.
Anyway, there's so many things right now that I'm trying to put together and build something toward a book. I think it'd be a great book. I really do. Elgin Baylor wrote a couple. One of them is called Hang Time, and he's just the greatest. And to have been there, and I can't even mention baseball, but it's just everything has just come together so well. And here I am, in the late stages of the 80s, but I know I'll make 100. I just know I will. Both of my grandpas lived to 92, and my mom lived to 97, and it's in here, in the genes, and I want to be there. One inspiration that I did get was this guy was down in, I wish I knew his name. In fact, I was trying to find it out, but he was in New Mexico coaching. He was 94 years old. This is when I was about 82. I said, geez, 94? I can do that. And so I'm still gunning for that. I got 7 years to go, but I don't know what I'll have to offer. I try to keep in the best shape that I possibly can. When I got into senior sports, I weighed 206. Now I weigh 166. I'm not packing around 40 pounds every step. So I encourage the people out there, get into senior sports or something that you can love. Get that weight off. It's pack around 5 pounds. Take 5 pounds around the house all day long. Well, you're carrying 40. I guess. I hope I didn't hurt any feelings with that.
Not at all. You're just inspiring me. You're inspiring me to get going.